I didn't mean to overhear that night. God knows I wasn't trying to. But sometimes fate doesn't knock. It kicks down the door and forces you to face the truths you've spent years pretending not to see. It was creeping up on midnight when I walked back into the store. Cold air clinging to my jacket, a plastic bag swinging at my side with a bottle of cheap red wine, and a couple of microwave dinners. The kind of dinner that doesn't even try to lie. They just sit there, silent and soggy, whispering that your marriage is circling the drain. The second I stepped inside, I heard her. Her voice carried low through the stillness, edged with something brittle and sharp. I can't stand being with him, Sarah. I feel caged. He's like a ghost I can't escape. I froze, my hand still gripping the bag, breath snagged in my throat like a fish caught on a line. Her words sliced clean through me. No warning, no mercy. I wasn't supposed to hear them, but I did. And the moment they landed, something in me stopped, like a clock that finally ran out of time. Marriage always starts like a fairy tale. Fireworks, whispered promises under moonlight, laughter that feels like it could echo into forever. You don't notice the rot when it first creeps in. You dismiss it as stress, as growing pains, as anything but what it really is. Then the days blur into routines, the kisses fade into forehead pecks, and one day you realize you've memorized the way they turn away from you in their sleep. I met Claire when we were still wide-eyed and reckless, both in our early 20s, both drunk on the idea of love. She used to look at me like I held the whole sky in my hands. I lived for that look, but slowly, painfully, the light in her eyes dimmed. Whether burned out or was blown away, I don't know. All I know is I became predictable. My job, my habits, the way I tried to be enough for her. But it never was. Standing there in that narrow hallway, the lights off, the cold from outside still clinging to my clothes, I felt something collapse inside me. That wasn't just heartbreak. That was years of denial crashing down in one cruel instant. I could have charged in, demanded an explanation, yelled, cried, begged, but I didn't. I crept upstairs like a thief in my own life, grabbed a duffel, stuffed it with what I needed, clothes, charger, nothing sentimental, and slipped out the front door without a word. No note, no confrontation, just silence. She wanted out, and I gave it to her. I drove without direction until I ended up at this run-down motel, clinging to the edge of town like a forgotten memory. The paint peeled from the walls in strips. The air reeked of mildew and old regrets. I sat on the bed, lumpy and too small, and stared at the hideous floral wallpaper that had probably witnessed 1,000 quiet breakdowns like mine. I kept asking myself how long she'd felt that way. How long had I been a ghost drifting through her world, unaware that I'd died in her eyes long ago? The next morning, my phone lit up like a siren. Missed calls, texts, voicemails. Where are you? We need to talk. Please come back. I almost laughed. The same woman who said she couldn't stand to be near me was now panicking over my absence. I let her sit with it. Let her feel what I felt for years. Unwanted, unseen, unmissed. 2 days passed before she showed up at the motel. She looked like a shell of herself. Eyes puffy and sunken, hair a tangled mess, voice barely above a whisper. "Why did you go?" she asked. I gave a hollow laugh, the kind that doesn't reach the eyes. "Do you really need me to spell it out?" She swallowed hard. You weren't supposed to hear that. That was the part that stung the most. Not that she said it, but that she got caught, as if the betrayal only mattered because it had finally surfaced. I stepped aside. She came in but didn't sit. Just stood there like a child caught doing something wrong. Was it true? I asked. She paused, too long. Claire, who always had words, suddenly had nothing. She fumbled for a lie soft enough to land gently, but the silence had already told the truth. "I was upset," she finally mumbled. Frustrated. "I didn't mean it like that." I shook my head, the ache behind my eyes sharp and steady. "You don't say something like that unless it's real." Her eyes shimmered, and I saw the tears coming before she did. "I love you, but..." "Don't." I cut her off. "I don't need the but. I know how this story ends." That was when she broke. She collapsed into sobs, right there in that depressing motel room. The sound raw and ragged. I didn't move. didn't reach for her. I just watched. For years, I'd been the one wondering if I was enough, if I was lovable, if she saw me. Now it was her turn to taste that emptiness, to feel what it's like to lose someone who was always there. I never went back. The divorce was brutal, lawyers, accusations, endless paperwork. But my healing wasn't. In walking away, I found clarity, found truth. People always think leaving is the hard part, but the real damage comes from staying where you're not wanted, from waking up beside someone whose love has turned to ash. Claire tried to reach out a few times after that. Messages, emails, even a letter once, hoping to stir the ashes back into flame. But I'd already found something better. Peace. And, in time, someone new, someone who looked at me like I was made of light, someone who didn't make me feel like a burden they were too tired to carry. This time, I didn't have to chase love. It found me. And when she looked into my eyes, I didn't feel like a ghost. I felt like the whole damn sky.